Hey, welcome back. It's JWalter here. Home builders are in big trouble right now. We're seeing this dramatic shift in our housing market, especially for new home sales, because new home sales actually fell well short of expectations. And this was a report that was actually just announced today at the time of this video, which is the 26th of July. This report here is thanks to the US Census Bureau, and I'm going to take a deep dive into what we're seeing right now, because this is one of the best leading indicators of our housing market, because new home sales are defined by when a contract is signed and not when it's actually closing escrow. So with that said, I actually did a ton of research in today's video. Hope you guys get a lot of value out of today's video. And if you guys appreciate these videos, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. Also consider subscribing as well, because I post frequent housing market updates so you guys can make a more informed decision about whether you should buy or sell a house. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right into the video here. Again, this is according to the US Census Bureau. It actually was just announced on the 26th of July, which is today. And this is for brand new home sales for June of this year. And this is only for single family home sales. Again, it's one of the best ways to really gauge our housing market, because this is based on contracts signed between a home buyer and a builder. So this is really acting like a leading indicator, more like a pending home sale and not a closed home sale, which again is a lagging indicator. In any case, have a look at this, because this is pretty remarkable. So again, a new home sale is defined as a deposit taken or a sales agreement signed, and this can occur prior to a permit being issued. In other words, a new home sale can be defined by when a home buyer places a deposit down on a dirt lot and the house is not going to be built for 6 to 12 months later. So they actually define that as a new home sale. But again, this is only single family houses. So have a look at this. I lit this up because there's so much to talk about in today's video. I'm actually really excited to share this with you guys as well. So here are the number of houses for sale and also the number of houses that have sold over the past 12 months, really. And by the way, these are in thousands of units. And also these are seasonally adjusted annualized rates here. So right now, 590,000, that's the number of single family home sales or contracts signed in June. And this is actually well below expectations, because the street was expecting 660,000 new single family houses to be sold, and not 590. On top of that, the Mortgage Bankers Association was forecasting for approximately 620,000 new home sales in June. So right now we're well below expectations for new home sales. So the number of home sales actually decreased compared to 1 month ago and also compared to 1 year ago. So compared to May 2022, it decreased by 8.1% and fell big time by 17.4% from 1 year ago. By the way, the biggest decreases on a regional level, and they break this down by the Northeast, the Midwest, the South, and the West. The biggest decreases on a year-over-year basis were actually in the Northeast, decreasing by almost 38%, and also the West decreasing by almost 33%. Also have a look at this, because if the Midwest didn't have this giant increase of home sales compared to May 2022, this number would be a lot worse, because the West decreased by almost 37% compared to the prior month. What I also found to be very interesting when analyzing this data for you guys is that besides last month, which is May 2022, we actually had an increase in home sales. But besides that month, we've had a decrease in home sales on a month-to-month basis every single month this year. So let's have a look at Uncle Fred's website here to really show the dramatic changes over the past couple of years here. So this is, again, the number of houses that has sold. These are, of course, single family houses. Again, the seasonally adjusted annualized rate is 590,000. But look at this. Back in December 2021, just last year, the annualized rate for home sales was 839,000. Now it's only 590,000. A big dramatic change ever since December of last year. Also, the current levels right now of 590,000 is at the lowest levels back in April 2020, when we basically had stay-at-home orders across the nation. So if we actually exclude April 2020, we're actually at the lowest levels since December of 2018, when 550,000 was a seasonally adjusted annualized rate for home sales. And by the way, this is a dramatic shift just over the past couple of years, because look at August 2020. We actually had 1.036 million home sales on an annualized basis back at that month. This is obviously far lower than the current levels of 590,000. So going back to this report from the US Census Bureau, the number of new home sales year to date are actually down 13.4% as well. So we're seeing a dramatic decrease in home sales this year. And the biggest decrease was actually in the Midwest, decreasing by almost 25% year to date. So let's have a look at the number of houses for sale or housing inventory for brand new houses. Take a look at this. So right now we have 457,000 houses for sale as of the end of June of this year. That's a slight increase of 2.2% from last month, but a giant increase of 32.1% compared to June 2021. In addition to this, check this out, because the current levels right now at 457,000 is at the highest levels since April 2008. So have a look at this. Here's Uncle Fred's website again. So 457,000, the highest levels since April 2008. As you can see right there, 458,000. So right now we have more houses listed for sale, or technically for sale, for brand new houses since April 2008. But wait, there's more. The current month supply of brand new houses for sale right now is sitting at 9.3 months, which is pretty remarkable, very, very high. A 10.7% increase compared to 1 month ago, but a giant increase of over 60% compared to June of 2021. And check this out, because this is pretty eye-opening. So right now, the levels of 9.3 months of housing supply is obviously far higher compared to the past couple of years. The all-time record lows, by the way, was actually set in August of 2020, when we only had a 3.3 month housing supply of brand new houses. Now we're almost at 3 times that level at 9.3%. And by the way, the all-time record highs for the month supply of brand new houses in the US was actually set in January 2009, when the month supply was 12.2 months. Additionally, the month supply right now at 9.3 months actually ties May 2010, when we also had a 9.3 month supply. But if we actually exclude May 2010, we're at the highest levels since April 2009, when we had 10.7 months of housing supply. What stands out the most to me regarding this is this giant increase compared to August of 2020, which, by the way, was less than 2 years ago, when we had an all-time record low of 3.3 months, and now we're well above that at 9.3 months. Absolutely insane. Okay, let's change the gears and talk about home prices right now. Again, for new houses, of course. New single-family houses, the median sold price in June of this year was $402,400. This is actually the lowest levels since June 2021, when we had approximately $375,000 was the median sold price. So again, home prices for new single-family houses is at its lowest level since June 2021. Also, by my dumb math here, this is approximately a 10% decrease compared to 1 month ago, when the median sold price was actually just under $445,000. Now again, we're just over $400,000, about a 10% decrease compared to 1 month ago, but it's been decreasing over the past couple of months here, ever since basically April this year. And the reason why we're seeing this decrease in home prices for brand new houses right now is due to a pullback in home buying demand, because as you guys saw, we're seeing less home sales or less contracts signed, and also more cancellations as well, as been important to you guys. Also right now, builders are offering incentives for home buyers right now, and also in some neighborhoods or some communities, they're actually decreasing their home prices. And what we also saw in June was more home sales that sold for less than $400,000, and more on that here in just a little bit. So here's Uncle Fred's website for home prices over the past 1 year. Again, these are for new single-family houses, of course. As you can see here, ever since April 2022, the median sold price has been decreasing, especially over the past couple of months here, decreasing greatly from $457,000 down to $402,000. So obviously this is a step in the right direction, but let's actually look at a more broader view of home prices over the past 10 years, because take a look at this. Look at that. So the median sold price right now, just over $400,000, but back in April 2020, it was $310,000. So by my quick and dumb math, that's approximately a 30% increase since April 2020. On top of that, if we look at the median sold price from 2017 to 2019, the average home price there was in the range of the low 300s to the mid 300s. And ever since December 2016, home prices have basically been flat. So for 2016, it was approximately $327,000, and back in February or March of 2020, it was $328,000. So what I'm getting at is that, yes, it's really good that home prices have decreased over the past couple of months, but the current levels right now are far higher than pre-COVID levels, when the average home price or the median sold price for brand new houses was in the range of $300,000 to approximately $330,000. And to make matters worse here, to be honest with you guys, the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage is approximately 5.5%. However, over the past couple of years, the average 30-year fix has been approximately 3%. So it's costing home buyers right now a lot more money to buy a brand new house right now, given that home prices have skyrocketed and also because mortgage rates have increased greatly as well. Therefore, this decrease in home prices over the past couple of months really doesn't make a big impact given the fact that home prices are much higher than 2017 all the way until 2019's levels. All right, let's go back to this report here from the US Census Bureau and talk a little bit more about what we're seeing right now. So here's the number of houses that have sold by sales price. And again, these are in thousands of units. And here's the percent distribution by price range. Again, the percent distribution by price range. I talked too fast. Anyways, take a look at this because again, the median sold price actually decreased to just over $400,000. And part of that, as I mentioned, is because we're seeing more home sales for less than $400,000, which is quite a bit different compared to last year when we basically had a lot of home sales that were over $400,000. And that's why we saw record high home prices. So take a look at this. So houses that sold in June 2022 in the range of $200,000 to basically $300,000 represented 13% of all home sales in June, whereas it was only 10% back last month. In addition, for houses that sold in the range of $300,000 to $400,000, that represented 36% in June, where it was only 30% last month. And then we have houses that sold in the range of $400,000 to $500,000, only represented 19% of houses that sold, and it was 23% back in May. On top of that, look at houses that sold over $750,000. 14% was back in May, and it decreased to 5% in June. And by the way, I actually just noticed this. This percent of 5% is actually the lowest share since at least the past 12 months. Okay, let's talk about the number of houses that have sold and also for sale by stage of construction. And they break this down by houses that have not yet started, units under construction, and also single family houses have been completed. So what I noticed here is that out of these 590,000 new home sales on a seasonally adjusted annualized rate in June, the majority actually came from houses under construction. But when looking at this, this is actually the lowest number of houses under construction that have sold in at least the past 12 months. So 251,000 houses that have sold that are under construction. We haven't seen numbers that low since at least the last 12 months again. So let's talk about the number of houses that are actually for sale or housing inventory by construction phase. So again, we have 457,000 houses for sale as of the end of June, and 110 actually came from not yet started, 306,000 actually came from under construction, and 41,000 were houses that have been completed already. So when looking at this, the total number of houses for sale, the vast majority of that actually is coming from houses under construction, because 306,000 is the number of houses that are for sale under construction when the total number is 457,000. And by the way, this number here of 306,000 houses under construction that are technically for sale is about 9% below the record that was set in 2006. One thing I noticed when I was analyzing this table here for you guys is that the houses for sale that are under construction, look at this, 306,000 houses right now. But look at the houses that are actually sold that are under construction. That represented 251,000. So therefore, there's actually more houses under construction that are for sale that have been sold. Again, the difference here is 306,000 that are for sale when 251,000 were sold. The reason why I'm mentioning this is that we actually saw just the opposite 1 year ago. So again, we have more houses for sale than have sold that are under construction. But look at June 2021, really. So back then we had 219,000 houses under construction that were technically for sale, but we had 341,000 that had been sold. And this is a similar trend over the past 12 months really as well, because every single month in 2021, we had more houses that had been sold under construction than were actually technically for sale. So for example, in July, we had 334,000 sold, and we only had 234,000 that actually were for sale. And we basically had more than 300,000 houses that sold under construction every single month in 2021, whereas the total number of houses under construction that were for sale never surpassed 265,000. So what this is telling me is that houses technically for sale that are under construction have been piling up. And this, of course, is one reason why we're seeing this giant increase of housing supply of 457,000 houses. And what we're also seeing right now, and this is very important, houses that have been actually completed, but they're technically for sale, has been increasing greatly as well. So as of the end of June, seasonally adjusted annualized rate for houses completed, but they actually were for sale, was 41,000 houses. This is actually a 28% increase from March. And by the way, March's number of 32,000 houses for sale that have been completed is an all-time record low. And I've been mentioning this on the channel for several months here. This is a very important metric I'm following because if builders right now are completing houses, but they're just sitting there or not selling, that's a clear indication that home buying demand is backing off greatly. So I'll definitely keep you posted regarding that in the months to come. One thing I want to mention regarding this is that the number right now at 41,000 is still historically low. And also the median months of housing supply right now is 2.5 months for houses that have actually been completed. Again, we have approximately a 2.5 month housing supply of houses that actually have been completed. And when looking at the averages over the past couple of years, in 2020, the average was 3.6 months. And back in 2021, it was 3.2 months. So the supply right now at 2.5 months is still historically low, but this increase of approximately 28% since March is definitely something we should be paying attention to. So that's the latest report from the US Census Bureau, but I actually want to give you guys a summary and also some advice towards the end of this video here as well, because that was a lot of info to share. And also a lot of you have been asking about these summaries towards the end of this video. So here's my summary for you guys. Right now, we have 590,000 single-family home sales. Again, this is when a home builder signs a contract with a home buyer. It's really acting like a paying home sale, a leading indicator of our housing market. And again, these are seasonally adjusted annualized rates. So right now at 590,000, this is down 17% compared to 1 year ago. And this is well below the street's expectations for 660,000 home sales. Also, the 590,000, besides April 2020, this is the lowest amount of new single-family home sales since December 2018. Let's talk about housing inventory for brand new houses. Right now, we're at the highest levels for new homes for sale since April 2008. So right now, we have approximately a 32% increase of houses for sale or new houses for sale compared to 1 year ago. Also, the month supply of 9.3 months is the highest level since May 2010. It actually was tied with May 2010. If you actually exclude this month, this is the highest levels since April 2009. Meanwhile, the median sold price for brand new houses actually decreased by about 10% from last month, but it's still much higher than pre-COVID levels because back in 2017 to approximately 2019, the median sold price for brand new houses was in the range of the low 300s to the mid 300s. Also, the number of houses under construction that are for sale is still very, very high right now. It's about 9% below the all-time record high that was set back in 2006. Also, for the number of houses completed, but they're actually for sale, that was that 42,000 number. This is a 28% increase since March 2022. This is still historically low levels, but steadily increasing over the past 3 months. So to summarize here, here's my advice for you guys. It's very risky placing a deposit down on a dirt lot right now. I've been mentioning this for several months now because of rising mortgage rates and of course all these headwinds that builders are facing right now. And clearly our housing market is shifting, especially for new houses right now. And that's because we're seeing home builders reducing their asking prices, builders offering more incentives for home buyers right now, and also inventory is clearly piling up. So here's my advice for you guys, because this is the most common question I get. Should I buy a house right now or should I wait? Regardless if you're looking to buy an existing house or a brand new house, here's my advice for you guys. Buy if you find a home you absolutely love, and also that one that you can afford. Your housing payment is very, very comfortable, and also a house in which you plan to live there for at least 7 to 10 plus years. Or I should say, for a house you plan to own for at least 7 to 10 plus years. In contrast though, do not buy a house, whether it's brand new or an existing house, if you're going to be stretching your finances, and also if you have short-term time horizons. And lastly, you may want to reconsider buying a house if you can't stomach the potential for your home value to decrease in the short term. So if you're someone who is on Zillow looking at the Zestimate of your house, or going on to Redfin, looking at the estimate of your home value as well. If you're going to be doing that every single day after buying a house and you can't stomach the fact about potentially seeing your home value decrease in the short term, then maybe it's not a good time to buy a house. But with that said, I would love to hear from you guys. Do you guys think it's a good time to buy a house right now, or do you think people should be waiting? If you guys got any value out of today's video whatsoever, then please like button. I greatly appreciate that. Hope you guys have an awesome day and look forward to seeing you on the next video.